everyone. It's great to be here, and I'm so thrilled to be part of the opening of UNSW's AI Institute. But also, I'm actually a graduate of UNSW, so it's fantastic to be back on campus. I actually studied commerce and arts here for my undergraduate, but at the same time, I did a lot of chamber music. I was a musician, and so I did a lot of chamber music in orchestras with the music faculty. I was putting on plays, theaters. It was just a fantastic playground for innovation from my perspective. I even remember crossing the mountain of UNSW multiple times per day, all the way up from Clancy, down to Anzac Parade, and back up to Clancy Auditorium. It was a thrill. It was my gym workout every single day. And also the parking fines. I don't know why that was a good idea. Every morning I would make that decision to drive to university. And even though I studied commerce and arts, my majors were economic strategy, film, theater, philosophy, strategic management, international business. I did a lot of music. Even though I did all of that, I landed in tech. It was the first job that I took on. It was inside sales for a technology startup. And that's how I started my tech career. It was a happy accident, and nothing that happened before it could have predicted that landing in a tech role. And from there, it's been an adventure. In fact, a lot of people will call me an AI expert, but I feel like a technology adventurer. I always love being on that frontier, and I think the adventures of studying at UNSW actually helps to embrace that frontier of the latest technologies, the latest kind of work that you can be involved in, and pushing your own limits, publishing and performing your own plays, such as what I did. So backing yourself at those undergraduate experiences actually pays off dividends when it comes to innovation later on. And my own non-linear path is actually not an anomaly in the AI field. I've met many, many folks in AI, and they've all had this non-linear background. In fact, in my own team at the National AI Center, as we're driving that mission to help accelerate positive AI adoption, my own team is a mixture of poets turned AI neurolinguistic researchers. I can see some head nods who are relating to that. I also have an urban designer who now is an AI program manager. I also have an accountant who is now an AI business consultant. So what I'm sharing with you here is that we are all part of this AI journey, and the streams leading to AI are actually very much non-linear, and that is good. That's what's needed for us to create technology that is diverse, that is inclusive, that is tapping into all of that innovation and knowledge that we have as a community. And that's what I see here with the establishment of the UNSW AI Institute. Imagine having this central point that is able to connect so many faculties, so many disciplines. And I've already heard such great work that's happening at various faculties when it comes to AI. How do we cross-pollinate that knowledge? How do we amplify the fantastic stories of impact that are emerging? That is what UNSW Institute is aiming towards, and that's why I'm so thrilled to be part of this. There is so much change in our world, and I think Ian Opelman just earlier shared the great challenges that are ahead of us: climate change, health, aging population. Not only that, but now everything also seems to be generating data. How much more data can we get? But there's more and more data coming, right? The volumes, the velocity, the variety of data. How do we continue being our human selves in such a highly complex world? How do we continue to make sense of it, to move through it, when it's increasingly seeming like a complex jungle of data, processes, and overwhelming challenges? And these grand challenges are needing grand tools to also help us navigate and tackle them. And so I see AI as one of these grand tools that can help us navigate the jungle of data, the exponentially accelerating and densifying jungle of data, but also the grand challenges that are ahead of us. There are physically not enough people to provide the kind of care that our elderly need. There are physically not enough people. And so we're needing to tap into the greatest innovation that we have, and AI is one of those that can really help us. In terms of the AI momentum globally, McKinsey surveyed 2,000 organizations around the world and found that about 58% were adopting AI. PwC also has a really fascinating study where they compared organizations who were using AI and found, to those who weren't, and found that those who used AI, the more AI they used, the more benefits they experienced. Benefits such as higher customer satisfaction, higher profitability, faster decision-making, more innovative products and services, and the list goes on. 58% of the world is starting that journey in terms of AI. You may wonder where Australia sits on that ranking. If we look at the IBM AI Adoption Index, 24%. If we look at the Australian Bureau of Statistics survey, 2019 to 2020, I can't wait for the update, 2%. 7,000 Australian businesses were surveyed and to ask them how many were using AI, and 2% said yes. And there's a big asterisk. I realize I'm in an academic institution. Maybe the person who completed the survey didn't know, but that in itself is actually an indicator of how strategic AI is to the organization. Maybe we have a bigger population of SMEs, and we do. Proportionally, Australia and our region has much bigger proportional representation of SMEs than larger organizations. But that also gives us a hint that SMEs are not really getting the kind of support needed to experience the AI benefits. Australia's standing in AI really matters. It really matters because it's the leading indicator of the global competitive advantage of Australia's businesses. So it's not about AI for technology's sake, it's actually about the outcomes it creates. And when we see that businesses who are using AI are experiencing better outcomes, profitability, customer satisfaction, that means that if we are not, then we're just not going to be competitive in the long term. And so that is why, again, it's exciting to see more institutes, more momentums being established, and UNSW AI Institute and the strong industry connection that is represented paves the path towards that. We have all of the ingredients that are needed to continue this acceleration. We have world-leading capability. In fact, we're leading the world in robotics, computer vision, quantum, responsible AI. We were amongst the world leaders to actually launch Australia's AI ethics principles. We were amongst those early movers on that front. And the momentum has kept accelerating with the ACOLA report, the Australian Human Rights reports. And as we traveled Australia during our National AI Centre listening tour, we also found that most AI innovation and research organizations also had investment in responsible AI researchers. So this momentum is building, and we have those ingredients to continue that acceleration. There's one more element, which is trust. I spent 8 years in the US, and I just recently returned in January. And you know, there is nothing like a fresher pair of eyes to actually see your home with. And what I've found is that trust is actually embedded in our culture as Australians. We believe in equitable and inclusive opportunities. We believe in a fair go, that everyone should have the ability to have a fair go. And in all of these reports I shared, ACOLA, Human Rights Commissioner research, it not only highlights that trust is a critical factor to AI adoption and for customers and consumers and populations to trust AI systems, but it also indicates a second thing, a much more important thing. It indicates that Australians have a higher benchmark of trust. We actually expect much more accountability from the technology, from also organizations and businesses that are around us, from the agencies that are within our realms. we have this higher benchmark of trust, and it has, to some extent, slowed some innovation, which is why we sometimes lag in adoption of the emerging tech. But if we really embrace this cultural strength that we have, if we really embraced it and leaned in, it could actually help us lift the benchmarks of our own innovation. So if we're aware of it, we lean in, lift the benchmarks, it could serve as a differentiator of Australia's approach to innovation and AI. Because once we're aware of it, then we can wield it as a strength. And so I really see this path already taking shape in terms of paving towards responsible and inclusive AI. And the UNSW AI Institute is coming such a long way to bring together the various expertise across faculty, across different experiences, and with that connection with industry. My hope is that as we create amazing new things, as we discover those new paths, I hope we can also pave paths towards responsible and inclusive AI, especially the practices. How do we actually do it? So that in that process, we empower all of us to be shaping the future with visions of doing better rather than replicating any of the biases from the past that might be latent in our data. So how do we develop those tools to shape our world with a vision for doing better? Now, apparently there's going to be some questions. And I've left quite a lot of time so that we can get the questions in.
Hi, hello? Okay, hear me. Hi, Stella. Eitan here. Nice to see you face to face.
Nice to see you.
A question about the institute, the center, the National AI Center. Can you elaborate a bit about your mission and what exactly you're trying to achieve and how you go about it?
Absolutely. In fact, I will share two things that have inspired what we do at the National AI Center. I shared that Australia has a lot of strength and expertise in AI. Ironically, we're also below global average for community understanding of AI, broad community understanding of AI. So this is a really interesting polarization. We have the expertise, but the broad community is not really understanding what AI is and the benefits it can contribute. Another really high contrast is we're relatively highly ranked in terms of AI research, 5th in the world, which is tremendous for a country of our size, 5th in the world. But 11th in the world in terms of the economic impact that those AI technologies are bringing to the commercial sector. So again, seeds of fantastic thought leadership and expertise. How do we create those benefits for businesses and communities? And so the National AI Center has been established to really help activate AI benefits at scale, to help more businesses adopt AI responsibly, to help more individuals find their career paths and understanding in AI, and then help to create a vibrant ecosystem of AI across Australia. In fact, even though the National AI Center was just established in January, we're not naive. It's not the first AI research, innovation, or organization in Australia. There's a really rich ecosystem, so our priority is really to amplify the successes that each AI organization across Australia has. And so front and center, it's about amplification. It's about storytelling. It's about helping businesses experience the benefits of AI and also helping more of the community be part of this journey.
Hi, Stella. Simon Longstaff.
Hi, Simon.
There's lots of talk about the application of AI to assist in business, but there's a whole world of community groups and not-for-profits who could benefit considerably, but it's almost impossible because of the affordability to have access to it. Do you see a way in which the power of AI might be liberated to some extent so that those less wealthy groups can also make use of it too?
That is an incredibly important question. I don't have an answer for it, but it is top of mind. And we recently launched three think tanks as National AI Centre, one for responsible AI, one for diversity and inclusion in AI, and another one for AI at scale. And something that we were very mindful of is ensuring that we have community organizations who are also part of each of these think tanks, because we recognize there's a large disparity in the experiences and benefits that communities are experiencing and able to tap into when it comes to AI, as well as not-for-profit organizations. And so we want to find the answers to that. I don't have the answer, but hopefully through the process we come to a better outcome. I should have had more slides. There aren't enough questions. Oh yeah, Toby, go ahead. Toby has a much better answer than I do, Toby.
No, I don't, but I just want to say that many of us working here at UNSW AI are very aware of Simon's concern. I think that's an incredibly important role a university can work with. If it's an application of AI that is of business potential, well, then business has got the money to do it. And indeed, a lot of our focus will be on doing that. And as an example, I have a number of projects. I would thank Google for their support. We have 2 Google grants as part of their AI for Good program, working with 2 charities, Info Exchange and Mothers to Mothers, 2 charities that helping them adopt AI in a way that they would not be able to afford, courtesy of the tech industry's foresight to help support us through that. So I think that's a really important role for universities, that we can go to places where there isn't perhaps the commercial opportunity. I said I was going to help answer the question.
Do we have any more questions?
Morning, Stella. Christina Larkin from EY. Hi. I've got a question for you. One of the things that we often see with clients and in the broader community, as you mentioned, is there's a lot of amplification of the negative and adverse impacts of AI. And that sometimes can skew, I guess, people's perception of what AI is. What do you see as the role of the National AI Centre to help balance that out and talk about some of the positive and exciting aspects of AI to balance out some of the negative, I guess, messages that we hear in the media?
I think it's actually a role of anyone who is in the AI space to amplify the positive storytelling. Unfortunately, we've done it to ourselves. We tend to click on the negative stories more than the positive stories. And so we are seeing a negative leaning bias in the media. Quite often it will capture those headlines. And so as part of activating the fantastic benefits that AI can bring to our communities, I think it's on us across all of the centres, UNSW, AI Institute, National AI Centre, many AI organisations, to really continue being relentless in amplifying those stories, bringing more people along, show the outcomes. In fact, outcome centricity is one of the fundamental ways that we can cut through the noise that's out there. If we can show the tangible outcome that an AI use case or an AI innovation has delivered, that can really help us. There's also something about being unified as Australia in our AI storytelling. We are a relatively small country across a large land, and that can really create silos and separation for us. And so really being mindful of how we support this positive storytelling, how we are generous with our encouragement. There's a little bit of a skepticism in the Australian culture where it might lead you to maybe scroll past some of the stories and not necessarily like and engage. But I would suggest that this is exactly what we need right now, is to be generous with our support for positive stories, to be generous with our support for innovation, to support Australia's AI innovation landscape, because we need to break through and get to the positive outcomes. And when there are so many players in the world all chasing for those positive outcomes and to accelerate and be the leaders in AI adoption and AI innovation, we really need to rally together. Thank you so much for the questions.